Hello everyone, and welcome back to Game Break, the full coverage writer's presentation where we take a look at some of the plot and story behind our favorite video games. Will here returning once again to the watery depths of rapture as we continue the story of BioShock 2. When we last left off, we were investigating the watery depths of Paupers Drop as we searched for... Well, we kind of got sidetracked from searching for Grace Holloway, and we're now just kind of exploring around and finding all the fun little things hidden in all the dark little corners of this place. Let's continue and see what else we can find. He is near. Nearer than you think.
Another day, no clients. Atlas and Ryan start going at it hot and heavy, and all my business dries up. It used to be easy. Put the eye on some spliced up dame's wandering husband and rake in the dough. Now it's got so bad I had to put my camera and hawk at King Pawn. Makes a guy consider splicing up himself. If I had 2 dimes to rub together, that is.
Again, another nice little sample of giving us a look at how life was in Rapture towards the end, while telling us a bit of information on where to find something. Good job on the writers. Oh, and another weird cult altar worshipping the Little Sisters. Aw, looks like they don't like fire very much. All weird altars need fire. I guess they disagree. We will meet again. If they're talking to the little sister, I suppose that makes obvious sense, but I get the feeling that we will meet again has deeper connotations than what's obvious here. Usually these weird religious cults have lots of deeper meanings. I also noticed a lot of those pictures on the walls. I remember in BioShock 1, certain areas, especially areas that had seen a lot of bloodshed during the seemingly endless wars between Andrew Ryan's police and Frank Fontaine's goons. Probably there were a lot of people that got caught in the crossfire and died, and those pictures were put up in memoriam, but are they here for the same reason? Or were they brought here as part of the altar? I noticed some of them have the little butterflies on them, and I don't quite know what that means yet.
Now, Eleanor, Mummy has to go away for a while. You shall be staying with Aunt Gracie.
Mummy, don't go.
Eleanor, you are better than that. Do you remember what I told you?
I am very special.
That's right. And what else?
I was born to change the world.
Yes. And when Mummy returns home, the world will be very different indeed. She will make it ready for you.
Poor little Eleanor sounded so adorable and pathetic in that recording. Aww. But that does also explain why Grace Holloway seems so connected to little Eleanor. She apparently looked after the kid for a while Sophia Lamb was off doing something. I'm curious what she was up to and why she had to leave her precious Eleanor behind. It must have been something really important, since Eleanor is the key to Sophia's plan for salvation and creating a paradise. So to leave her behind in the hands of Grace means that she must have had to go do something very important. Possibly go to the surface to make more little sisters? I hope we'll find out later. There's still a lot of unanswered questions, but at least now we know why Grace cared so much about Eleanor. She probably looked after the kid for quite some time. Though again, it does create some timeline questions as to when she thinks we took little Eleanor and turned her into a little sister. I still want to know what happened there. Hopefully we'll find out soon, preferably before the end of the game. I'm hoping there are no blatant plot holes in the story and that all questions will be answered by the end.
Dr. Lamb, Sophia, I came down here to sing and to start a family, but I just don't fit with these people. Look at you. You fit with them.
Grace, in Ryan's rapture, I am the pariah. You and I share unpopular ideas, but I wonder, how devoted are you to the rapture people? If you wish to know more, wear this butterfly brooch at our next session. If not, no harm done. We shall never speak of it again.
It's actually a rather brilliant way for Dr. Lamb to recruit a following. She's already down here, and she's already probably speaking to most of the people in Paupers Drop over their depression and whatever else they want to talk about. Which I'm sure she was giving cheap, if not free, psychological sessions to these people. And of course, they're going to complain about living in Rapture, so she gives them the opportunity to join her and learn more with the butterfly brooch.
That thing's a miracle in Technicolor, kid. Works like a movie camera. Start the film rolling before you open fire on a splicer, and then anything you hit him with tells you more about his DNA. Let's give it a dry run, shall we?
I admit, I was kind of hoping the research camera would not be a thing again after BioShock 1, but at least in this version they made it a movie camera instead of a photography camera. So it functions a little bit better, but it is a little quirky. As we'll see here as I go back to talking about Dr. Sophia Lamb's brilliant recruiting methods. She gives you the option to join if you want to. Wear the brooch and you're in. Don't wear the brooch and it's like it never happened, no harm done. No downside, no pressure, it's all up to you. Best way to gain a following, really. Have them decide to follow you of their own free will. And again, with all the depressed people down here in Paupers Drop, it's not surprising that she has such a huge following.
This might work.
As for this research camera, it's quirky. It's a little bit better than the photography camera, but ultimately it's the same thing. You don't have to worry about collecting film. I just kind of wish that it wasn't part of the weapon bar and was perhaps a separate thing. You hit another button to start. But it is what it is, and we just have to deal with it. And of course, now we know how Dr. Lamb was able to recruit Gracie. She was down here, down and out. And with one simple brooch, Gracie was in her fold. How she became so devoted, I guess we'll just have to wait to find out. Welcome to the Sinclair Deluxe. I'm sure it was a nice place at some point. Nicest place in Paupers Drop, maybe? Which really isn't saying all that much, considering what the rest of Paupers Drop looks like. Which was practically a demilitarized zone. Yeesh. Oh my. There's no escape. How dark. There's certainly no escape this way. Someone took a lot of time to board up this entrance. Oh, we're not going that way. I guess the only way to go is into the hotel. Oh. Well, because that's not creepy at all. Sure, that poster with the close-up of Sophia Lamb's eyes is everywhere, but something about opening up a door and having that just staring back at you just kind of sends shivers down your spine. It's like she really is always watching.
Rising says, piss off and die, tin shit.
Well, not exactly a warm welcome.
Well, sport, I guess Gracie's home. But that big lug just dropped half my damn hotel in your way. Now, to break through that mess, I expect you're gonna have to work out how he got so burly. Since you already laid your hands on a genetic research camera, this next part'll be easier. That's it, son. Camera spits out a prize once in a while as you learn what makes a splicer tick. Now, find one of those big old brutes and take him out on film. Before long, you'll be able to brush aside that mess at the hotel.
Get the feeling that I really did do stuff a little bit out of order. I was definitely supposed to come here first and then get the research camera later, but I can't help it. You give me a chance to explore, I'm gonna explore.
Old Paupers Drop's the worst neighborhood in Rapture, but it's a hell of an opportunity to raise up some affordable housing. When Atlantic Express was constructing their luxury passenger line, this place was hollowed out beneath as flop houses for the railway crew. Nobody was supposed to reside down here long term, but when you're broke in this town, you're not exactly swimming in alternatives. I don't favor spending more than an hour or so down here at a time. There ain't a side of the tracks more wrong than under 'em.
Just like everyone else in Rapture, Sinclair was looking for an easy buck. And boy did he find it here. Took a bunch of the housings that was just meant to house the crew building the Atlantic Express rail line while they were working on it, and turned it into quote-end quote permanent housing. I doubt this place looked much better than it does now, even back before everything went to pot. All so he could make a quick buck, and people in this town were desperate enough to do it, because it's better to have a leaky roof over your head than no roof over your head, I suppose. Still, it's just bad business. Not good people skills, but at this point, with everything else we've seen in Rapture, I am not surprised. Everybody who was clever enough to abuse the system found a way to make a profit. And our good buddy Sinclair was right up there with the rest of them. Which again makes me wonder, how long is it before he double-crosses us for his own personal gain? At this point, I'm just waiting for it. Oh hey, butterflies. If this were any other game, I would think that a good omen. In this case, not so much.
Remember, son, without using that research camera, we can't get to Gracie, and that means we're stuck here. Get one of those big apes on film, then work him over.
I don't really get why they had to use the research camera again in this manner. I suppose this quest line for the camera...
Using that camera's a bit like telling a joke. Each time you tell it the same way, it gets a little more stale, so you gotta change it up to keep it fresh.
Sinclair just loves interrupting me. Oh my. And that Big Daddy is in for a fight. He's basically saying there is that, kind of like in BioShock 1, you can't just record the same splicer and fight them in the same way each time. You have to change it up a little bit and fight them in different ways to learn more about them, to get the upgrades and bonus damage and all that stuff. And I do like the idea of getting the bonus damage, it's just weird with the... I still don't get the whole... I'd like more of the lore on how the camera works and reading DNA. They don't go into that at all. You just kind of have to accept it. It's like, yes, these cameras and these films read DNA of the subjects you film or shoot with them, and then you can just use that to magically do more damage, and in this case, learn new attacks? It's a little weird, but I guess it's just one of those things that with the video game, we're not necessarily going to get the full backstory, so we just have to accept it. Man, this place was really coming apart, too. There are a lot of those support beams in here. This place is just waiting to collapse in on itself. I'm not surprised that people were depressed. Oh, but hey, they had a women's club. Every Thursday at 4 sharp. That sounds lovely.
This Lamb woman's powers of manipulation are almost scary. Her people are using the girls from the surface to gather Adam from Lamb's followers. It's in the blood. And eventually they give themselves over. Like dying is an honor. I'd almost feel sorry for them if they didn't have my daughter. I'm going to find Lamb and take Cindy back one way or another.
Some confirmation of a few things we had already assumed.
No one ever gets any.
It seems that, indeed, Lamb sent the, I assume, big sisters up to the surface to collect innocent little girls, bring them down here, and turn them into little sisters so that they can collect the atom. But of course, one thing I hadn't assumed is that, well, I'd kind of assumed it, Lamb's followers were willingly giving themselves up to be killed so that the atom could be collected from them, much like in those strange altars we saw earlier. Godspeed, Mark Meltzer. I hope you found little Cindy without dying. But, considering how the things go down here, I'm surprised he's lived this far, first of all. And, whoa! Ow. That was a missile. Okay, so there's a rocket launcher turret in there. And also at this point, this is where I realized that I had more than one type of hacking dart, which explains a conundrum I had while playing as to why I had so few darts after collecting so many darts. I was collecting auto-hack darts, but using the remote ones. So that's cool. But yeah, Godspeed, Mark Meltzer. May you find little Cindy, save her, and get out of here. I'm willing to bet we're going to find Mark Meltzer dead somewhere by the end of the game, but you never know, maybe he made it out. Maybe. Well, I guess we'll just have to wait and see, just like everything else with these games. Wait and see. All will be revealed eventually. And probably in some kind of dramatic twist. Alright, little one. Just going to drain you of that extra atom and let you be on your way.
You.
Excuse you? I'm sorry? What was that about a little sister coming after me? Well, I don't like that. Seems, big sisters don't like it when you're, when you do anything with little sisters. Even if you just release them. Then again, since we break the brainwashing, I suppose that would be why... Oh, hi! Hey, how's it going? Ow. Ow. Okay, so, yeah. Big sisters don't like it when you play with the little sisters. Ow! And they hurt. A lot. In BioShock 1, I was always nervous of the, ow. The groans of the Big Daddy, because it meant Big Daddy was nearby. But, the screeches of a big sister are even worse. Definitely even worse. Well, I guess I got a bonus. Ow. It certainly doesn't help that there's splicers attacking me. You may have missed it there, but that big sister just used her telekinesis to throw a splicer at me. I am definitely outnumbered, even with the help of those little security drones. Don't appreciate the... Ow. Ow. Don't appreciate that either. And I'm out of health. And I'm dead. Oh. Well, fudge. Of course, we're not done yet. Oh, she's still afoot and... still angry with me. Super. That's super. Well then, I guess little big sister still wants to play with Big Daddy, huh? And they got... Ow. That's really harsh on the ears. They got a nasty attack too, that pretty much it's almost a one-hit kill. Drops me down to like 1 hit point. Not cool. Oh, behind me, of course. Ah, she was almost dead too. Dying is bad, but dying when you were a couple shots away from killing your opponent, that's always worse. Oh, and thanks for the help. Glad to know that we big daddies stick together. Can't rely on the random ones for nothing. Oh well. So, but that's a thing now. Saving the little sisters means I might get attacked by a big sister at any point in time. Just what I always wanted. Hooray.
I'm hearing rumors. Sounds like somebody named Wales is starting up worship services down in Siren Alley. Believe it or not. All faiths and creeds welcome, they says. They got big promises. Salvation, immortality, a way out of here. I don't care how crazy it sounds. A way out of rapture's music to my ears. Next Sunday morning, I'll be there.
Well then, even down here in Rapture, religion was allowed as long as Andrew Ryan didn't find out, of course. Seems this fellow Wales was trying to start up a new religion down here that promised salvation and freedom from Rapture. And considering he was doing it in Paupers Drop, I'm not surprised if he probably got quite a few people to come to his sermons. Not sure what significance that data recording has just yet, but it's interesting. Not surprising, but interesting.
All the roles I get offered these days.
Do you remember what you told me, Bill? A marketplace of ideas. That was you. If I submit to the debates with Lamb, we defang her. I've done so. And have you been to Paupers Drop, Bill? Listen. When you're down and out. Between each song, these Oblomovs hand out her manifesto. Her face adorns every wall. Saint Lamb. You made her, McDonough. And now, you will convince the council to sponsor her silence.
Wow, Andrew Ryan was really not happy with what Sophia Lamb was doing. Not surprisingly. Looks like that Bill McDonough convinced Andrew Ryan to do those debates in the hope that Andrew Ryan would be able to talk his way out of all of her teachings and convince the people of Rapture that Rapture wasn't as bad as Sophia Lamb was saying. Unsurprisingly, that all backfired because I believe Sophia Lamb was smarter than Andrew Ryan. I believe that wholeheartedly. Pretty sure she's smarter than most of the people down here in Rapture. So, since the diplomatic, as it were, route didn't work, Andrew Ryan is taking the back alley route and trying to convince the council to get rid of her. Probably one way or another. And we already know he was contacting Sinclair for probably even darker dealings.
I wish I could publish this stuff. It's newsman pay dirt. Sinclair says Ryan's making a move against Sophia Lamb, and they want to cut me in on the action. They're building a case that Lamb's a closet pinko, sort of an undercover thing. So I cozy up to this guy Wales who works for Lamb, making like I want to join up. Then I find out whether he grew his beard for Jesus or Karl Marx.
It's a brilliant plan for a free market society. Basically, in order to get Sophia Lamb out, they just need to oust her as a communist. Anyone who wants a free market society will not want communists around.
There's one of those big goons now. Start your camera rolling on him, and then let him have it.
Again with the interrupting me, Sinclair. Shush! I'm talking plot. So in order to get Sophia Lamb out, they sent, specifically Sinclair, sent that fool in undercover to try and see if she was, or to find any enough proof to prove her as a communist. And it turns out he was going to start by buddying up to that Wales fellow that was starting that church. Makes sense, and also proves that Wales was starting the church with Sophia Lamb's blessing, as a way to recruit more followers. Oh hey, I'm being attacked by a Big Daddy now. Wonderful.
Look at you, sport. A regular junior shutterbug. And it appears you've picked up a new trick from that big galoot. Now get back to the Sinclair Deluxe and just bust through that mess blocking your way.
I'd love to if I wasn't dying. And more menus. And down I go again. I think I know what caused it there. I picked up a tonic that lets me release a fire nova when I take melee damage. And I'm assuming that Big Daddy got caught in the crossfire. Which, of course, means, just like what happened in that one time in BioShock 1, the Big Daddy turned on me. I think from now on, once I clear all Little Sisters, any Big Daddies I see are just going to have to be killed. Just to make things easier, because fighting other things and a Big Daddy at the same time never ends well. Fighting a Big Daddy by itself is tough enough. Fighting one and an army of splicers at the same time? No thank you. Just no thank you. Do not want.
For Grace, the paradise of Andrew Ryan was most unkind. She spoke against him in song, and he had her blacklisted. It left her penniless. But in the family, she has found hope, a reason to draw breath. Ask yourself, Delta, do you deserve to take it from her?
Trying to guilt trip me with psychotherapy tactics or something like that. I mean, I do get it. Grace probably had a pretty decent life until Andrew Ryan screwed things up. Speak out against Andrew Ryan and you're lucky if you get to live. The simple fact that she probably just lost her job and couldn't find work anywhere except for down here, she got off easy. You already got a recording from her saying that people disappeared just for speaking out against Andrew Ryan. But, you know, we've got bigger things. We can't be distracted by such guilt. We must find Eleanor, no matter what the cost. And I'm sure the cost will be great. But on that note, it looks like we're all out of time. Thank you all for joining me for this episode of Game Break. Please feel free to continue the discussion in the comments below. Just try to keep it spoiler-free. If you enjoyed the video, give that like button a press. And as always, subscribe to our channel for more great videos from us at Full Coverage Writers. And until next time, get out there, be productive, and be awesome.
I worked hard to look this good.
Telling us a bit of information on where to find something. Good job on the writers. Oh, and another weird cult altar worshipping the Little Sisters. Aw, looks like they don't like fire very much. All weird altars need fire. I guess they disagree. We will meet again. If they're talking to the Little Sister, I suppose that makes obvious sense, but I get the feeling that "we will meet again" has deeper connotations than what's obvious here. Usually these weird religious cults have lots of deeper meanings. I also noticed a lot of those pictures on the walls. I remember in BioShock 1, certain areas, especially areas that had seen a lot of bloodshed during the seemingly endless wars between Andrew Ryan's police and Frank Fontaine. But that does also explain why Grace Holloway seems so connected to little Eleanor. She apparently looked after the kid for a while Sophia Lamb was off doing something. I'm curious what she was up to and why she had to leave her precious Eleanor behind. It must have been something really important, since Eleanor is the key to Sophia's plan for salvation and creating a paradise. So to leave her behind in the hands of Grace means that she must have had to go do something very important. Possibly go to the surface to make more little sisters? I hope we'll find out later. There's still a lot of unanswered questions, but at least now we know why Grace cared so much about Eleanor. She probably looked after the kid for quite some time. Though again, it does create some timeline questions as to when she thinks we took little Eleanor and turned her into a little sister. I still want to know what happened there. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Game Break, the full coverage writer's presentation where we take a look at some of the plot and story behind our favorite video games. Will here returning once again to the watery depths of Rapture as we continue the story of BioShock 2. When we last left off, we were investigating the watery depths of Paupers Drop as we searched for... Well, we kind of got sidetracked from searching for Grace Holloway, and we're now just kind of exploring around and finding all the fun little things hidden in all the dark little corners of this place. Means goons. Probably there were a lot of people that got caught in the crossfire and died, and those pictures were put up in memoriam, but are they here for the same reason? Or were they brought here as part of the altar? I noticed some of them have the little butterflies on them, and I don't quite know what that means yet.
Eleanor, Mummy has to go away for a while. You shall be staying with Aunt Gracie.
Mommy, don't go.
Eleanor, you are better than that. Do you remember what I told you?
I am very special.
That's right. And what else?
I was born to change the world.
Yes. And when Mummy returns home, the world will be very different indeed. She will make it ready for you.
Poor little Eleanor sounded so adorable and pathetic in that recording. Aww. Let's continue and see what else we can find. He is near. Nearer than you think.
Another day, no clients. Atlas and Ryan start going at it hot and heavy, and all my business dries up. It used to be easy. Put the eye on some spliced-up dame's wandering husband and rake in the dough. Now it's got so bad I had to put my camera in hock at King Pawn. Makes a guy consider splicing up himself. If I had 2 dimes to rub together, that is.
Again, another nice little sample of giving us a look at how life was in Rapture towards the end, while